Hi, welcome to the Witch's Tea Party. I'm the witch, Mystia, and with me today are my co-hosts.
MomokaVT.
MomokaVT.
And it's me, MomokaVT.
Everything is normal. Anyway, let's start the podcast off right this week with our beloved segment. What are you drinking?
Mystia, what are you drinking? I mean, Momostia VT, what are you drinking?
I have this is called a flaming brown sugar milk tea boba.
Oh,
Was it served to you like on fire? Is it one of those like kind of really cool like expensive drinks from like hip places, like the Salt Bays restaurant that charges $17,000 for a meal?
I wish I had $17,000 for a meal. No, I
Me
don't know
too.
why it's called flaming, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
I think
sounds
they
really
just set
good,
the
though.
top of it on fire like a creme brulee. But I don't get to see it, so it's like...
That's lame that you don't get
Yeah.
to see it.
It's more of a DIY, do-it-yourself flame.
Yeah, start your
Oh.
own fires. Be
yeah.
your own lighter.
Here at the Witches Tea Party podcast, we support starting your own fires.
Alternatively, we
Start your
support
own
starting fires.
responsibly.
Smokey the Bear would be very disappointed in this podcast.
Smokey's like kind of a bitch though, so
That's
you know
why
it's
he's not
fine.
allowed in here.
Yeah, we don't allow Smokey the Bear here.
Not after
Other
the
bears have-
incident.
Do we have a banned persons list? Is Smokey the Bear one of them?
Yeah,
Smokey
he's
the
top
Bear
of
is
the
our
list.
first official banned person.
But don't worry, we accept other bears such as Sinirsa.
Oh yes, yeah. Other bears are fine, especially Sunny Ursa.
Yeah.
Also on the banned list is Elon Musk.
That's okay. It would be hilarious to have Elon Musk on this podcast, considering how much like shit we've talked about Elon Musk.
Specifically.
Well, mostly it's been yeah, I guess so. I was gonna say mostly it's been about Twitter, but everything about Twitter that we've complained about has been Elon Musk related. Speaking of
As a
which,
result of him existing.
Twitter's been making some more questionable choices.
That's
Today,
true.
well, as of recording this, they've announced that they're adding a paywall to their API.
Which is amazing considering every other major like platform such as YouTube and LinkedIn and I forget the other I guess Tumblr also like all has open source free API.
Yeah.
And so did
So this
Twitter
affects-
until now.
It affects the platform in a lot of ways, but very specifically, if you're a VTuber in the VTubing community or just in an art community, specifically to call out one, that would affect Skeb. You would not be able to use, or the
Yeah.
Skeb API would. Yeah, I don't know how it works entirely and who's getting charged and what, but users would have to pay to use the API to connect Twitter and Skeb.
Do we have
it's
to pay or does Skeb have to pay?
well, we would have to pay because Skeb would not actually pay because they would just put it on us. Because why would a corporation pay money for things?
So, like, Skeb would have to pay, but they would add an extra charge.
Right. Yeah, basically.
they
Realistically,
haven't-
Skeb is the one who has to pay. But
And they haven't announced pricing plans except for the fact that there will be pricing plans of some
Yeah.
sort.
which is also absurd that you're like building in pricing plans for some reason.
Yeah.
To a
Something
Open
that should
source
be free
API
that was
thing?
free and
Yeah, it's just such a bizarre like move. And the realistically, like the answer would be like what I saw a couple of people talking about is like stop allowing controversial like Nazis on your platform that scare away advertisers so that advertisers actually want to pay to be on your platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
No, that's too hard for Mr. Musk. So
but no, let's just piss off everybody else more and more.
yeah,
No, you're not seeing it from his perspective. What if we just printed more money? It's that easy.
God, you're so right.
What if we just stop
Yeah,
being
true.
poor? Just stop.
You know, just get a small loan of a few $1 million by way of stealing money from your father's emerald mine.
I don't see the problem with that.
that is also run on slave labor, because why wouldn't it be?
And on that
Of
note,
course.
it would be very funny to get Elon Musk on our podcast.
Agreed. It would be hilarious. I would love it personally.
I wouldn't know what to do with the guy, to be honest.
I would have some ideas, Misty. It's okay. Let me take point on that
Alright,
one.
Momo, original MomokaVT, take the wheel. But also, another questionable Twitter update. Apparently, they're removing the DM button.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really know what it was about, but
Can't think
yeah.
of a reason why they would do this, but they're doing it. I think I still have mine as of right now.
As far
Yeah.
as I'm aware, I also have one, but
I still have mine.
Yeah,
But I also don't
I
have
mean,
often, so
have they said like getting rid of DMs like as a feature, or
I don't know. I would have to read more about it, but
it would be so funny if they were like, "Oh no, we're not getting rid of DMs. We're just getting rid of the button."
Just the
So you have to
button.
manually type the address into your search
I mean,
bar.
I feel like getting rid of Twitter DMs as a whole would just be really stupid.
I mean, to be fair, everything that has been done with Twitter in a lot of ways is
Has
pretty.
been pretty
stupid.
stupid.
That's true.
On
That's
brand.
true.
On point.
It's very on brand.
For late
yeah,
Twitter. But yeah, there's like a lot of artists and other people that make like income from Twitter.
well, yeah,
Twitter
it's
interactions.
one of those things that like if you were to do that anyway, you're just gonna drive people off the platform to communicate privately. So
Which would most likely
Right.
be Discord, of course. For,
Discord.
for like
I mean, because
commissions
people also
and
use it for
stuff.
business connections, and so like emails and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right,
and
like,
like
It's
advertising offers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
it's really interesting to see, because like if Twitter continues down the path that they're currently on, the likely long-term solution for people is to just combine usage of like Discord and LinkedIn like as their
Yeah.
main platforms.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our friend of the pod, Katie, posted on Twitter, that she hates how Twitter is slowly just becoming LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It really is, which is weird.
And maybe like that's the eventual goal, is like to make it a business platform, but I just don't understand the like reasoning behind it. I guess like it just seems like a bad business move. And I by
It's-
no means am I a capitalist, but like I don't know, man.
Maybe
How are you
they've
making
just
money?
been like testing the waters and seeing that like no really viable alternatives have come up for Twitter, so they just keep doing more deranged shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. We were too big to fail.
Yeah, honestly, that's a reasonable assumption in some ways, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Just
and at
kinda
least in
feels
like
like
small
that's what they're doing.
communities, like there was sparks of people moving, but you know, obviously it hasn't to any great effect really happened.
Yeah,
It just didn't really work out, and it kind of probably won't work out.
it
Yeah.
sucks because like there's just not a great alternative to Twitter
Mhm.
that works the way that Twitter does.
Yeah, I
Right.
wish
Yeah.
there was. Like, we've made all these alternate platform accounts or
Mhm.
whatever just in
I
case,
have
but
Mastodon.
I still don't use them.
Yeah.
I used
It's-
Hive for like a day. Yeah.
Well, and then Hive immediately became like terrible because of
Security
Like,
issues, right?
Security issues.
yeah, leaking
Yeah.
data like everywhere, like a faucet. Like
Yeah. And I guess that's what happens when you don't have like corporate backing and like a big
Yeah.
financial investment, is like some two people making a website are gonna not have that sort of like experience, I guess, that like
Yeah.
is needed to prevent that.
Also,
Yeah.
like, a good lesson for smaller users: hey, don't go to a platform and immediately upload all your private data.
Yeah, maybe
True,
don't do
true.
that. Especially if it hasn't been around for long, because you have no idea what to expect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, it really sucks to see. You really hate to see it, but
Elon, if you want on the pod, just hit us up.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
hit us up on DMs while you still can.
Yeah, DM
right.
us
You're
on
getting
your
rid of them
platform
soon,
when you
so
well, on a more happier note, speaking of friends of the pod, Daisy, our guest from last
oh
week,
yeah.
literally just released an announcement for her new game.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And we would love it if you would go check it out.
It is called Yumemori, and I will put a link to the Steam page, which is now up in the description. If you
I
could
didn't realize
wish
this
list
thing came
it,
up.
if you could wish list
Yeah.
it, that would help a lot. She did say it's going to
Mhm.
be a free game. It's a point and click game where I believe
Yeah.
you're trying to escape a room.
Mm-hmm.
I
Looks
do-
really cool.
I do love escape room games, actually.
Me
Yeah,
too.
it looks so
Yeah.
cute too. Like
Also, with like,
It does.
she put so much like little tiny details into the background of the room you're in.
yeah, it's really cool.
Don't let
And-
them know, but the room is in fact the podcast room that we locked her in last week.
Right.
And she's
Sure.
really
She's
trying to
gonna
get out
skip
of it.
Yeah.
Trying real hard.
And I made a wallpaper for the game that I think is going to be in it somewhere.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so go check out Daisy's new game, Yumemori. Also, she's doing a casting call for some voice lines for a female and a
Ooh.
male character. I don't know by the time this goes out if she will have already chosen people or not, but I'll leave a link to that Twitter post as well.
Definitely.
That's so cool.
Yeah, check it out. And also, like, just wishlisting it on Steam is how it helps small games in general in the algorithm. So definitely go wishlist that if you're interested, because that'll help Daisy a lot.
Yeah, help
Or if
her
you're
out.
not interested and you just like us. Like
True.
honestly,
Yeah.
just do this as a favor for us.
True.
Just simply do it. And,
Wishlisting costs you nothing.
and it's a free game, so you know you might as well give it a try.
True.
Yeah.
And I know she's working on at least one other game that don't think she's released any information on yet. So
Mm.
keep an eye out for Daisy and her dev account on Twitter at MintyYukime.
She's doing so much
Yeah.
cool stuff.
She is.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
amazing.
Daisy is such a crazy inspiration in a lot of ways.
Right.
Because man, makes me want to do more things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. I just started doing art commissions myself,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself for
Yeah.
because I've been saying I was going to do that for like the past 2 years and I never did.
I remember.
Super, super proud of you.
That's actually why I started streaming. Is I thought that it would be a good way to find clients for commissions and also give me an excuse to like work on them on stream, and
Right.
I like never did that. So oops.
That's actually so interesting. Oh, okay. I know this is a little bit off of our typical topics for the day, but what did you like start streaming for? Because that's something I guess I never really realized that's like why you started, Mystia.
Well,
yeah.
so I wanted to be a YouTuber, which I've said before, I think on the
Right.
podcast.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a YouTuber and I wanted to make like my mascot characters, so Mystia as a character was always going to exist.
Mhm.
But I was just gonna draw her in a bunch of different poses with different like expressions. Like what's a good example?
Right.
Maybe Saber Spark is a good example. He does that.
There's
Um,
like,
Yeah.
you familiar with them?
Yeah.
A bad person kind of because of controversy, but old Baru was like that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to do that, but then I found out about VTubers, and I never thought about streaming before, but when I found out about VTubers, I was like, you know, That sounds fun. And I don't have anything better to do because I was unemployed from the pandemic and I had a lot of money from the pandemic. So I got a VTuber model and I started streaming, and I was hoping that because I guess it's always been like my dream job, with if you asked me when I was a teenager, would be to have like a stable day job and then also make money from commissions, because I never thought I would get to a point where I could just do commissions.
Sure.
I
Right.
still don't know if that's possible, but
I
like,
mean, your art's so good though, and you like. I think you definitely could get to that point, but I feel you.
thank you. I found a reason to use Momo's blush key. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought that I could do that from streaming, and then I
Super
never
fair,
did
yeah.
it because I get like really nervous about one, like feeling like my money, my my art is worth money, I mean, and then two, like dealing with angry people that might either like try to scam me and act like they don't like it so they can get their money back, or like just don't like it.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to share why you started streaming also.
Sure.
hmm So I think I might have talked about this before on the podcast back in like New Year's maybe or something. But for me personally, I kind of started streaming because similar to you, I wanted to be a YouTuber initially. And I did do a little bit of that way back like a long time ago, but I never really got my feet off the ground on it. And once I like settled into my current place of living with like stability and not living with my like parents and stuff, I was like, okay, here's a chance to try and do this. And for a long time, I just kind of played video games and didn't like promote myself or do anything further with it because I was like, this is just something I'll do with my hobby time because it's like fun and like, you know, I can just hang out with friends or whatever. Um, and I had that like hope in the back of my head that I could make it a full-time career someday, but it was just that kind of like a long in the distance kind of hope. And then VTubing happened, and suddenly I have a community and I have friends, and it's a lot better. But the goal all along was to do it as like a job, basically. Just doing it hobby until that theoretically could become possible.
Yeah, I never
For
thought of it becoming like a job for me either, but like it's kind of like a hope you'll probably always have like somewhere as long as you
Yeah.
keep doing it.
No, definitely. For me, it was like I started VTubing as kind of, or not VTubing, but like streaming in general, as a kind of reaction to a pretty bad like breakup that I went through. And it was just kind of a way to like pass time and occupy myself. Because I knew that I liked watching streamers. And I at the time was very involved in a YouTubers community or a streamers community called the Munchdown, who streamed mostly Slay the Spire content. And I was like, well, that's really cool. That's like a thing I would love to be able to do. So I started streaming and then immediately kind of got into a slight like upturn. Like I got my affiliate real fast and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I can maybe make this into like a full-time job. And then I just like stopped for like several months. And then I picked it back up again whenever I found another friend of mine, Mushy, who is VTuber Mushy on Twitter, was starting to get into VTubing and like kind of explained it to me and like showed me her model. And I was like, wait, you can actually do this? Because like I had always known about it because I've been a big fan of Fubuki that I've talked about in the past.
That's Hololive Ibuki.
Hololive Fubuki, yeah. And I was like, wait, you can actually do this? So then I started getting involved in the VTuber space and very quickly became like, look, I have a design. And then later on I met Yuki and then I met Daisy and I was like, Daisy model, and now we have this.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, for me, this month's actually the 3rd year anniversary of my regular Twitch streaming, except for 2 major breaks. This is 3 years of consistent streaming for me. On Twitch specifically. I streamed as far back as 2016.
Wow.
For me, I'd been doing YouTube content since 2008. And eventually, I was really against streaming for a long time before it was like big. I hated the idea of not being able to edit like anything.
Sure, yeah.
I can
Like, not being able to-
understand
So that's, I mean, I again, at that point, I had been doing pre-recorded content for like 7 to 8 years, because at least I didn't have a computer and internet capable of like actually doing live content. And then eventually I was like, all right, what the hell? I did YouTube gaming back when it was
that.
still
Oh,
called
gosh.
YouTube gaming in 2016, 2017, either. My first game I streamed, I remember, was Breath of the Wild. Or no, there's something before that. It was like Mario Kart or something. But yeah, it kind of just became a natural evolution of what I was interested in, because I loved making content and playing games like as content. So yeah, I just like switched to streaming, and I did the same thing as Mystia. I had my character as a mascot. The pre 1.0 star was supposed to be my mascot at first, and then eventually I hired an emote artist, Yamachika, who was a VTuber, and then I learned from her that like, oh yeah, being a VTuber is just a thing that people can do now. That's still back when finding live 2D artists, that was early 2020, when like
right.
live 2D artists was not a thing in English yet. There were not many.
It was so hard to find a model artist back then.
Yeah, specifically 2D. There are 3D like options, but
Where did it go?
people just made 3D models.
Wait, they're gone. Momo, Yuki?
Oh, wait,
Oh.
yeah, they're both gone.
Are we back?
There you are.
I think our internet died briefly.
That's
It's
so
fine.
funny. You're back and blurrier than ever.
We decided to take a trip to a different dimension. Don't think about it.
How
too much.
was it?
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
we're
couldn't
not
escape
supposed to
permanently, as you can see, you're back.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be able to leave, so I think this is the repercussions of trying to.
Yeah, this is your
Mhm.
punishment.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
I
so
think
clear.
Yukimo is still in between dimensions.
I'm so clear because I never try to escape. I've accepted my fate long ago.
That makes sense, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's why you keep pulling us back here every time we try to escape, right?
Well, it's not me doing it.
No. I feel like that
It's the
conflicts with some lore, but sure, yeah.
The room is cursed.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I
room,
can bring
right.
people in, but then the room keeps you in here. That's the problem.
I
It's
see.
like the opposite of the mom, like, I brought you in this world, I can take you out of it. I
brought
cannot
you-
take you out of it.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, I just remember how hard it was to find any model artists back then, and
Yeah.
I'm thankful for Aeon because she was my first model artist.
Yeah, I had Melon before I had Aeon, and Melon was amazing.
Yeah, Melon made a
And
lot
then-
of people's first models. I think
Oh, she made a lot.
she had a
I think
lot
she
of kids.
had. I know she's had over 20 VTuber children. She's had over 20 babies.
She's very proactive.
Yeah.
I would like to someday make a VTuber model, like just for funsies mostly, because I think it
Yeah.
would be so cool to like see my art moving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super fair. It would be really cool if you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would buy a Mystia model.
I would also
Same.
buy a Mystia model.
Wow. Oh my god. Thank you guys.
Which then, not to go like too far again away from our topics, although I guess at this point that's just what this podcast is. Because there's also been in that same like thought a lot of people in the VTubing community are graduating, which, again, if you don't know what VTubers are, that means that people are just basically no longer being VTubers usually.
Yeah, graduating
No
is
longer
like,
doing VTuber content.
it's an idle term.
Mm-hmm.
Used and adopted by Japanese VTubers, which was then adopted by the Western VTubers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because Western VTubers like vaguely follow the culture of the Japanese VTubers, which is
Sometimes.
yeah, vaguely follows
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Not always, but they'll do like, for example, debuts and then also graduations. And
Yeah.
graduations just means that you
Lot,
graduate
usually.
from being a VTuber.
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally move on to something else.
Which,
Yeah.
like, it makes sense. It's a pretty reasonable term to co-opt in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but is interesting considering the, like, idol culture origins whenever that's something so foreign to, like, American culture and
Yeah.
Western culture in general.
And I mean, especially because, like, in the traditional sense, like, graduating means that, like, you're done. Like, you were done, and you
Mhm.
would not be this person, this character anymore again, ever. Which is also true a lot for, like, Japanese VTubers. But I think in English VTubers, it's often, like, people might graduate, but then they might swap to non-VTuber content or something like that.
I think with
Not always, but...
I think with like Japanese VTubers, it just started with like the corporate ones like Hololive and Nijisanji, because when they graduate from being those characters, because the corporation owns that character, they can never be that character again.
Yeah, they legally cannot be that character.
So I think that's why they started using graduations, maybe,
Mhm.
because I'm pretty sure if you
Right.
graduate as an idol, you also just can't just like go back to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I have not
I would
studied
assume.
idol culture.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense.
I also am not really sure, but
I oh,
go ahead.
yeah, with that, I just know that, like, just to the fans, I can't speak to the whole culture. I know to some fans, they'll see it as disrespectful. Like, if you've already graduated, to then go back and be that character again. As,
Yeah.
like some people just, like, no, the story has been told, it's over. Like, that person isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand where it comes from and like why you might want to graduate as a Western indie VTuber, but I also don't at the same time.
Yeah.
Especially if you've invested like so much time and money into a character and you have the possibility of coming back at some point.
Mhm.
At that
Yeah.
point, it's more of just like a indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, and I think to build off of that, in the same vein, in the EN scene, we're seeing a lot of people not only graduating, but some also, or instead of, are on indefinite hiatus. I mean, I know multiple friends who have declared themselves on indefinite hiatus because IRL stuff's picking back up and all that.
Yeah, I've seen a
Yeah.
couple of my Twitter mutuals becoming either graduated or on an indefinite hiatus, and it's very sad to see, but I guess that makes sense with like the world is pretty much back to functioning similarly to pre-COVID at this point. So like
Right.
for me, and I'm sure like Star and Momo and other VTubers with full-time jobs can understand, it's very hard to like keep up the motivation and the energy after your 9 to 5 every weekday. Which is partially why I haven't been making content myself, is I just don't have energy. But I also went through a very emotional time, which, you know, I'm pretty much at the other end of now. So that's why I'm coming back, but I'll probably only be doing like two to three streams a week because it's just like hard to find that the energy for it.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
I feel the exact same way where like I want to do content and things, but I just I don't want to say I can't, because like I can. I just don't feel like I can in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A full-time job just takes up so much like time and energy, and when you have like any amount of depression or something, it just like
It's just the
Yeah.
topping on the cake, really. I actually
Yeah.
just watched a YouTube video, because I watch videos while I'm at work, where someone was explaining that, like, to become a YouTuber, you pretty much just have to, like, be on the YouTube grind, like,
Mhm.
constantly, and you just don't have time for a social life. And if you have a full-time job, it makes it, like, way worse, because full-time jobs are, like, designed to keep you where you're at,
right.
Yeah.
because they sap up all your energy, and then when you get home, what do you want to do? You don't want to, like, sit there and do work, right? Because making videos or
Mhm.
streaming, more so making videos, it's just like not all fun and games. You have to, like, a lot of
Yeah.
work actually goes into making videos.
Mhm.
For streaming, it still takes energy. Like, you might just be doing something you could do off stream, but it takes a certain energy to want to be entertaining and to,
Yeah.
like,
Definitely.
be in front of an audience. So, like, when you
Mhm.
work a full-time job, that's not usually how you want to spend your time. You want to, like, relax and play a game or, like, watch TV or something.
Mhm.
Right.
Just not have to think so heavily about everything you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or feel some kind of pressure to be, like, entertaining when you just kind of want to, especially when you add, like, the depression on top of it. You just want to lay there, stare at the ceiling,
Yeah.
stare at your
Mhm.
little
I-
Astro Man projector light.
Yeah.
I love him.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I definitely feel it because I've been like writing a script for a video we've talked about a little bit, and I've shown you guys that I've been working on, and then it's like, I'm like, when do I have the time to one write this, and then when am I gonna record it? Because I only stream twice a week regularly, almost every week if something doesn't happen. But
And
even
then
then,
we
I'm
have
like, I want to stream more, but when?
Yeah, because then, like, on
Right.
top of that, we have the podcast, which takes a couple hours out of your guys' day every week, which I am forever grateful for. But I also have a good time doing the podcast, because for me,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're talking about, like, topics and we're trying to be entertaining in a way.
Mhm.
But mostly it just feels like I'm hanging out with my pals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
I
think
definitely
like
agree.
as much as I love it and as much fun as I have with it, I feel like my brain compartmentalizes it as like a form of work still, which I mean it is in a way, but it definitely like makes that like the nights that I go to work and stream or go to work and record, I'm even more tired because like
Yeah,
that's
because, like,
just
by
a
the
lot to do.
and by the time you're done, like, doing it, it's pretty much bedtime. Then you have to go to bed and do it all
Yeah.
again tomorrow. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's just so draining, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that a good advice for, especially making, like, video content, is to, like, bulk record on the weekends.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's I as someone who used to do a lot of YouTube videos, specifically YouTube Let's Plays, I learned that the hard way because I used to record one episode at a time, and then I'd have long stretches where I was busy, so I stopped making videos. I'm like, oh, don't worry, a video will be coming out eventually. I don't know when. It'll happen eventually though, and then. God, I still remember because the first game I did it for was Uncharted 1. I spent it was like Thanksgiving break. I spent a whole day recording the whole game. It was more funny. It was more consistent. But God, was it exhausting? It was
Oh,
so
yeah.
scary.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I
That's so
feel
much.
that. And, like, so I watched the Game Grumps, and they have been doing, like, tours.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, and it's obvious they're bulk recording because they talk about it a lot. But, like,
Yeah.
an episode they just uploaded today that I watched was from, like, before Christmas break.
Oh my
And it
god.
just got uploaded today, which is, like, February 2nd.
That's kind of also where, like, I think I personally realized the problem with bulk recording stuff like that is that, like, then it gets released, like, weeks, months. Sometimes I've seen I know some people that bulk record so much they're years behind on content.
That's so
Like
crazy.
not as often, but that was like back when people did so many, like when everyone was doing YouTube Let's Plays, which way less people do it in the format that it used to be. Most people do clip shows of them playing games now. For you Zoomers watching and listening, what everyone used to do that was a YouTube Let's Player was they would record entire games. Like front to back,
Yeah.
to end. That's what everyone did. So, and back when there was a 10-minute limit and people were recording like RPGs, JRPGs, there'd be like
100 episodes doing something.
There was the guy who had like a 700 part Fallout 3 in New Vegas Let's Play.
That's like One Piece.
Somebody who I used to watch a lot of was if you know them, the Yogscast. Like,
Yeah.
They absolutely did that kind of thing where they just had playlists and playlists of just their Minecraft like playthroughs, because that's just all they did, and every day they would like put out 17 more, and it was cool. I loved watching early like Yogscast stuff with I forget what it's called now, Shadow of Israfel, which is like a really old like YouTube storytelling adventure, which is really interesting. They're one of the first people that I know of that did that kind of thing, and it just like it gave them a ton of popularity, but like that kind of content just doesn't work or exist at all today.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent it does. Like I still it's Steven Plays. He did a Skyrim Let's Play, and I'm trying to look for the playlist right now. Where he basically, I don't remember specifically if he 100%. Oh god, I'm still scrolling to the bottom. How many parts is it? His last numbered part is 292.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm looking through his playlist, and if anyone listening or watching knows who he is, you know, but he did that, like it finished 8 years ago, and like 283 was the last, like the end of it back then, before he did extra content, and like all these videos that was even when the time limit was up, so he has like 30-minute videos, just like that was the format back then. That's what people did before streaming, before shows were popular.
So many YouTubers that are still big now got their start Let's Playing horror games, like PewDiePie,
Markiplier,
Markiplier still does it though. Like PewDiePie got popular from it, but he doesn't do it anymore. Markiplier's still going, and I still enjoy watching them.
Yeah,
I literally just watched one when I ate dinner before we did the podcast.
He's so fun to watch playing horror games, or just games in general, really.
He's just got such an endearing personality.
Yeah, I do love Markiplier, but I cannot watch anything he does horror related because I'm a baby and I hate horror a lot.
My favorite thing is when I'm watching someone play a horror game and there's like a jump scare in the game and it gets me and not the person playing it.
Oh yeah.
Me watching Critical every time.
Right.
He's like, all right, what's up? Oh. Like, what the fuck? Why?
Oh my god, is that Moist Critical Charlie on our podcast?
What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I don't know where the voice is at.
You know, I mean, like Critical has done content with VTubers before, so.
Oh my god, Moist Critical! If you wanna be a guest on the pod,
we would actually enjoy you as opposed to Elon Musk. So
can we get Charlie instead of Elon, please?
Charlie, if you're out there.
Charlie, if you're
listening. Oh. Charlie Moist, Mr. Critical, if you're listening to this random podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
I imagine that Mr. Critical absolutely listens to the Witch's Tea Party every single time.
Yeah.
Fan.
You could even react to our videos if you want. You have permission.
That's true.
True,
You have
true.
permission. You've been given the witch's permission. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm the witch.
Oh my god.
That's your
Oh my god,
bestie.
she's the witch.
Oh.
Yeah. Now replace
Gasp.
the W with a B.
Oh my god.
That's a bad word, Mystia. I can't believe
forgot
you would say that.
YouTube is gonna demonetize all our videos now.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wow. Yeah. With the new guidelines, yeah.
Are there new
God.
guidelines out?
They made it stricter.
God,
Mm.
that's so annoying.
It used to be what, like first 15 seconds you couldn't curse. Now it's like the first 3 minutes you can't curse or allude
know
to
it-
anything.
that,
I know it
yeah.
had been pushed up to like the first minute. I didn't know they had pushed it up again.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Like, I guess
Like,
it's
what the
because
fuck
it's
is wrong with saying
being
bitch? I just don't get it.
for real. Like, I guess it's because like YouTube is mostly a platform for kids. So like, sure, whatever. But also like, man, is
Well,
kids nowadays are like millennials kids. Like there's no more boomers kids really. We're all having our
Yeah.
own kids. And do any of us care? Like, do we care about our children like hearing curse words?
I think
'Cause I
there
really
are
don't-
still some. There's definitely still some
I guess that's
people
fair.
our
Yeah.
age out there that do care. I don't know.
It just feels
why,
like
but they
such an
do.
archaic like idea in a lot of ways
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
fair.
I understand in theory, like, yeah, protecting children from hearing bad language and bad ideas, but like, obviously,
Sure.
it's gone so far in the opposite direction to like avoid that.
Especially
I mean, 'cause
when like it doesn't do anything to actually like protect kids from radical ideas,
Yeah.
right? Like it
Yeah, because they
it
don't.
just-
they don't block off any of the like
Mhm.
far right podcasts or whatever from YouTube.
right. Like they're still gonna hear Joe Rogan talk about
Yeah.
his weird like
And Jordan Peterson and can't forget
Right.
fucking Ben Shapiro.
Right. But no,
Right.
that's not important. It matters that our kids don't hear the F word, but they can
Mhm.
hear like right wing propaganda all day. That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank
And also,
God.
like, to that extent, on YouTube, you have to say if the video is for kids or not. Now that's been that way for
Right,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I was also gonna make the point that YouTube is like there are a lot of kids that watch YouTubes, but there are YouTubes, but there are
YouTubes. You and your YouTubes.
I'm
kids these
sorry,
days.
I boomered a little bit there. There's a lot of adults and like older teens or whatever that also watch YouTube, and I don't know, like it shouldn't all need to be sanitized that far.
Right.
Especially
No, I
when
totally
the content
agree.
is not for kids and is labeled as such. Like I feel like
Mhm.
parents at this point it's on the parents to like watch what your kid is doing.
Right. And like
Right.
realistically, right, like the issue is advertisers and not actually
Yeah.
YouTube itself. Like they don't really care. It is all
Yeah.
about like what advertisers perceive as the most profitable way to exploit
Mhm.
money from children watching things, which like to me is the far more predatory and terrible thing than somebody saying fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
hey, you
I
know,
mean,
That's
it's
just
also like it feels like a cultural regression to me at points too, because like okay, I've been watching through Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been watching through Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And for those of you who don't know, the localization problems that early 4Kids, everyone hates 4Kids for whatever reason. I don't, whatever. Anyway, the reason a lot of their like weird localization choices happen is because one, they're localizing it, and two, because they had to hit a TV Y7 rating, which is like
right.
insanely strict about what you can. That's why they can't say death in Yu-Gi-Oh! Until
Right.
when they start doing it, because like especially in the early 2000s, like you weren't allowed to mention the concept of death on TV Y7 to air it for children. You could not do that, and it feels like YouTube's rules for advertisers is trying to get back to that of like the no, you gotta keep everything squeaky clean for kids because
you can't say like if you watch like YouTube shorts and things, you cannot
Mhm.
say the word death or like the K word because YouTube will like delist your video.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Because-
words you can't say.
Which is why a lot of them say like unalive instead, which is like such a technically they have that on a lot of regular videos as well, but
Yeah.
it's just such an absurd like level of fake
It's censorship.
protection.
It's literally censorship.
Yeah, and it's
It is, and
censorship
it's
that just
ridiculous
doesn't.
censorship. Because like even when I was a kid, like there's just the word death or like someone talking about death wouldn't like affect me.
Also, like
Mm-hmm.
as a kid, like in most cases, you probably don't even have the concept of what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
And,
like,
like,
Well,
I don't know
I
what
mean,
that is. Like,
I think also, like, this is just my personal take as someone who doesn't want kids, at least right now, and probably never will. But like being introduced to those concepts younger in life is what's going to help you deal with those concepts
Mhm.
when they happen,
Yeah.
not if, when they happen.
because you can't just ignore it. It's a part of life. Like, especially when it comes to death and swear words. Like, people say them all the time, like in public,
Yeah.
wherever you go. So, like,
We-
why is it such a big deal if a YouTuber that's not appealing to kids says the F word?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And realistically, there is no real reason other than
Yeah.
Advertisers. but
Coca-Cola
yeah.
said so.
You're right.
Yeah.
Literally.
And,
And
like,
it's also like the meaning in insult level of the world's word is like deteriorating over time too. Because remember, like you couldn't say ass on TV 40 years ago, and now
True,
like
true.
that's fine. But
do you remember that
True.
episode
Yeah.
of South Park where what word was it that they were saying? Was it shit?
There was a word
Mhm.
on. It was the World of Warcraft episode.
No, there was an
Said the word
episode of
shit.
South Park where they made it a point to say a certain swear word like as many times as they could in one episode, and I can't remember which word it was supposed to be. It was either ass or shit, I think.
Yeah, it's so strange how again it goes back to early TV guidelines, and I'm like, I think it's funny every time it comes up because when I lived with my parents, it came up a lot of like they'd hear the word like bastard on the TV or ass, and they'd be like, you can't say that or shit. It was shit. It was always shit. It's always shit.
It's
Yeah,
always
it-
shit.
Yeah.
This
Then I'll
shit is
just put it on
crazy.
TV, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been hearing that word on TV for like 10 years now. What are you talking about?
Apparently, the episode the word was in fact shit, and it was said on like uncensored 162 separate times and written another 38 times, bringing the total to an even 200 times in the episode.
Oh my God.
I love older
So
South
funny.
Park. It's so funny. Like, I
It's-
was watching that shit when I was a little kid.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like same.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just is a weird sanitization of the world
Media.
as a result of like corporate greed in a lot of ways, which is so bizarre to watch.
True.
Like, why? Why are we
Yeah.
here? Because, like, I feel like the popular opinion in a lot of ways is to not have that be the case. And you would probably be more, like, effective as an advertiser, but I guess not, because, like, you know, that's why they get paid what they get paid, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like it would be better to not have this kind of weird attack, not even attack, I don't even know what the right word is, but like censorship of
Yeah.
everything.
True.
Yeah. I just don't see what purpose. I mean, like, especially now, again, like obviously it's all for advertisers and you know, I mean, like the TV guidelines, I think I understand in concept of like, yeah, you don't want anything gruesome or like that would genuinely scar kids or harm them or harm their
Totally,
growth.
yeah.
But also like when that extends to language that they're gonna hear anyway, like yeah, I wouldn't encourage it. I understand that, but completely just punishing like again, and it's the problem I to roll back to YouTube of like this content isn't made for kids usually anyway, so like
Mhm.
Right.
Why does everyone have to run by the restrictions on children's media when it's not children's media?
Right. Absolutely. Because, like, I don't, like, even if I want children one day or whatever, as, like, a person, I don't want to make content for kids. Like, that's not who I want to speak to.
Right.
I don't have anything in common with kids. I don't really relate to them. Like, why am I being subject to this weird, arbitrary guideline?
Yeah. And
It just
again,
makes no sense.
like again rolling back to YouTube for the 30,000th time. In the video upload, you have to say whether or not it's for kids again.
Right,
and if you say no, you still have this restriction regardless. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
It's just such a strange.
Please fix your weird puritanical bullshit.
Yeah.
I guess that's also part of the thing that bothers me about it, is it does feel very puritanical, which is very weird. Because, like,
I don't know what that word means.
It means basically like
Christian.
Yeah, kind of. It's like a conservative Christian.
Puritan. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
And it's like,
also,
there's nothing against people with those beliefs. I don't understand why that is a deciding factor.
Why it has to be like the law, like not
right?
Actually the law, but like the law of the land on YouTube
right, like
for some reason. Is it just because they get like the angriest about things?
I mean, a lot of it has to do with just like who is currently in holding the power, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of puritanical people hold power in our country, and like YouTube is subject to American laws because it is an American company.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and it's also like a lot of like business level threats of like, oh, if you don't clean this up, we'll pull our funding, which no one wants. Like that's what's like the big, oh no, if we don't mass restrict everything, Coca-Cola is gonna pull funding, like whatever.
Yeah,
that's the thing that the people actually like care about, because it's their money.
Yeah. And then like, because it's like, because YouTube's not the only one. Maybe to move the conversation a little bit, because like Twitch's thing, in the past few months is they started incentivizing playing more ads, something that I personally opted into, because at first it was a genuinely great deal. For reference, since there are, despite everyone thinking so, there are no restrictions on talking about your income. Because I read the affiliate agreement multiple times. When I first started, before I had it, I probably made streaming the same amount, probably 50 cents to $1 a month in ad revenue. Because you get like it's like what, 33% cut or something.
It's so small.
I don't remember. Man, it's something very small. Which, I mean, it's ad revenue, so that honestly that makes sense to me personally. Of like, yeah, I mean, it's ad revenue. It's not for me in the first place.
Right.
That's that's fair.
Getting any cut to me is like a little bit of an, oh, that's nice. So they boosted it. If you played 3 minutes of ad per hour, you would get a boost of an amount relative to your size, basically. And so I personally, I did it, and the first month I did it, I got a $10 boost in ad revenue, which to me, a very small streamer, relative to the people that I know, that's insane. Like, that is back when there was a $100 limit on payout, or a $100 minimum on payout. That's 10% of it. When it moved to 50, that's 20% of it. Yeah. That's an insane boost. And then the second month, it went down a little bit to like $7. And now last month, I made, I think, like $2.
Oh, okay.
It had this weird diminishing returns effect that I've now turned it off, because I'm not gonna.
$2 not really worth it anymore.
like not. I'm not gonna burn my viewers on like I remember specifically, and I know who you are if you're listening. I'm really sorry because they had complained about ads, and fairly so, because the default way it portions it out is it plays a 15-second ad every 8 minutes, which is insane.
Well, that's
That's
so
really
weird.
annoying. I heard
Um,
like the Twitch revenue, like from ads, has been down across the board for most people, right?
Yeah,
I saw
after
people
both
posting some pretty shitty offers.
regular, like that incentive, like that. So some people, I think if you're a partner, it actually gives you the incentive rates.
Right.
Or I just missed it, but as an affiliate, I just had it opted in, and then I just, I watch my revenue to see what I get. And like the drop off is insane. Of like what is so like, can I? Yeah, I'm looking through my statistics right now. In January, I made, with the increased amount of ads, I made about $2 in ad revenue.
Oh, geez.
And in December, I can see that I made significantly more. Anyway, go ahead.
Just to like pitch in, I also run the ads because they made that like 55% cut all of a sudden. That was really good. And like I noticed I got like $20 or something. It's like, wow, that's like the most I've ever made on ads.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like I haven't been streaming, so I haven't been able to see if it's been like diminishing or anything like that. But at least in my case, it let me do a thing where I can like play, I think it's like a minute and a half every 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
And that disables rolls, which is really cool. But like, it just sucks how much like, that's even still a lot of ads to make like not that much money on.
Yeah, and I mean, again, a better increase in the cut is nice, but I just looked, so I made around $10 in December on ads. I made $2 in January, and I streamed the same amount.
Oh, yeah.
So
Not so worth it anymore.
Right,
For what
yeah.
you have to do for it.
Ads suck.
That's
so
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
The moral of the story.
But speaking of censorship, another word we can't say. Pornography. So recently there was a scandal involving deepfake pornography. Which, if you don't know what a deepfake is, it's basically superimposing like somebody's face or something over something else in a video to make it look like that person is in the video when they're not. So deepfake porn is a porn actress or video, like, but they took the face of popular Twitch streamers and superimposed that over the actress. So it's kind of like non-consensual porn at that point. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's a big scandal that happened very recently as a recording. Big Twitch streamer Atrioc was caught on stream with a tab open that was a link, or it was a deep fake porn site that you had to pay for, apparently, so he paid for it. And it was deep fake porn of popular female Twitch streamers, which he was caught and then made an apology video with his wife crying in the background.
So weird.
So
which is very strange. Like, this has a lot of layers, like an onion.
Yeah.
If it was regular porn that the Twitch streamers consented to, that would be one thing. But this is not, and if you think about it, he's probably met these girls in real life and like had a conversation with them here and there. So it's like they're basically his co-workers. So you're watching, you paid for porn of your co-workers, basically. And you have
without
a wife.
their consent.
Without their consent, of course.
which is such a weird situation. And I am very glad that like as VTubers we don't have to worry about anyone like using our face like in multiple places. Once you know like who the VTuber is, it's just them, right? Like nobody else uses that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the worst that could happen to a VTuber is somebody like drawing your character against your will.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that does happen, but
the sumo art.
Oh God.
Oh no!
Wait, the
I
what?
forgot about that.
I don't
Oh, God.
The sumo art.
What's that?
It's probably not something we should bring up too much, but it was art that was drawn in a very specific way that people did not love in a lot of cases.
Oh!
I don't want to be any more
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, art of people's characters being drawn in without their consent can definitely be weird, but also
But
in a lot
I
of
think
cases,
it happens to Twitch streamers too, right? You just draw
yeah.
them instead. But I think that's
I
like
mean,
the
yeah.
worst thing that you could do to a VTuber.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it feels less bad because it's like not
Not
it's
your
still
real
like
body.
right. It's still
Mhm.
your like representation or your presentation of yourself, but like it's just different. I don't know. It feels different to me.
I do think it's bad, especially if never mind. That's gonna go into a whole bunch of other layers. But yeah,
the onion's too big. It's too big.
I just don't understand why his wife is in the apology video crying.
Also,
I guess I'd be. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Star posted a picture of it in our chat for this podcast just so we can see it, and I have to say, his face, like his eyes in particular in this video, look like the fakest things I've ever seen in my life. And I don't mean to be rude to
I believe he was crying in the video.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just because of the way that like his camera blurs the background.
Yeah.
It just makes his face look very AI generated, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Emotional streamer crying.
It looks like a thumbnail for a video, of like emotional streamer crying.
Funny. I will say what's going on here, especially for his wife, is not funny because it's basically like finding out that your partner wants to cheat on you with their coworkers. I mean, it's not, but it kind of feels that way.
It's like so similar.
Yeah.
It's one of those people and couples looking at porn separately, like whatever. That's
I was gonna say,
but it's pretty normal, you know.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, I'm of the opinion that like you can watch porn like in a relationship, like that's not a problem. At least in my opinion. I suppose some people do have boundaries regarding that, and that's like up to you. But I feel like it's like pretty natural for you to want to watch, look at porn. And that's fine. But like when it's your, first of all, non-consensual deepfakes.
That's where it gets really bad.
Exactly. That's
what
it's
so.
Like what a weird.
But why would you put her in the video? Like, she's already going through a lot, right? She's
right. The
upset.
reason, technically, I'm sure, is because like for one, clickbait. Having her in the background just like makes it more enticing to normies watching, and they're like, oh my god, she's crying, why is she crying? It like drives up sympathy clicks and things like that.
Content creation sucks.
It's really toxic and bad, and like it makes sense why it's there. If you think about it in a really, really cynical, like purely growth oriented way, and you see versions of it happen all over like Twitter and things like that, where controversy is really popular, and if you make your wife cry on camera, that's gonna be popular because people want to see the like train wreck of it. It's why like reality TV is the way it is.
Right.
I do
out of
think-
context, the image is kind of funny, but
It's so
Yeah.
funny looking.
I think it is fair to say, just as kind of a disclaimer, that I don't think any of us know the full details of the situation.
No,
So
I
No.
don't.
we're just onlookers on this. I don't think we have any personal stake. So it's just for discussion strictly.
Mostly I just wanted to bring up the topic and say this is happening right now. Or
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
it
Right.
even
happened.
really like watch or know who Atriarch is that much, so
Yeah.
yeah.
This is my first time hearing about him.
This article that I pulled up does say that several of the Twitch streamers are his real life friends, which adds another
Yeah.
layer, which is of
Yeah.
awkwardness.
See, yeah, that's where it gets so weird to me. Like,
It'd be like
I just, why are you, like, you can have relationships with your friends if that's like a consensual thing that you're all agreed upon doing.
Yeah.
But like, it, don't anonymously subscribe to your friends' OnlyFans. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird,
Yeah.
and it's even worse whenever it's deep fakes of them.
that they didn't yeah, and like
It's
I've been
weird.
seeing on Twitter actually, like some of the female Twitch streamers have been posting about being upset about the deepfakes. And it's
Yeah.
like completely understandable. But then of course you have the assholes on Twitter that are like, oh, look at this rich white woman crying about something stupid or something like that. And it's like, shut up.
And-
like
Like,
it doesn't matter
sure,
how much money she has or what her race is. Like she didn't
Right.
consent to this.
Yeah.
sure, maybe her life isn't as hard as someone who is a minority and poor, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have feelings and isn't allowed to be offended whenever her visage is being used in a terrible way without her consent. Like,
In an uncomfortable, clearly like malicious or like
Right.
exploitative way. Maybe not malicious specifically, but definitely exploitative.
Right.
it has, I mean, like it starts to tread the weird line of like what is like considered sexual assault or like some form of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because clearly it's being done without consent. It is sexual in
Mhm.
nature in the way it's being done, or in the content being produced. Is that part, like, does that fall under that umbrella? And then like, are you, when you're saying like, oh, this rich white woman complaining about nothing or whatever, are you then like defending that? Like, that's an insane line to be on the other side of. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Like,
a
on
lot of
one
people,
hand, I'm just not surprised because it's Twitter. Of
yeah,
course there's gonna be these people.
Mhm.
But on the other, like, I don't know, just have some decency, I guess.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point of this is like, if it was just regular porn, it's whatever. But it's the fact that
Mhm.
it's his coworkers / friends, and they didn't consent.
Yeah.
There's
It's
so
like-
many
it's
weird
like
layers
if
to
you-
it.
If you find out your coworker is a Twitch streamer, ask them before you subscribe and talk about their like life at work in their chat. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
I just there are certain parts of people's lives that are private and they should be
Yeah.
left that way.
I'm sorry, I just took mental damage from personal experiences.
Image.
Who again, to go back to my history, I've used the same accounts except for, well, I've used the same accounts relatively for the past like 7 to 8 years. And I used to give my accounts out to IRL people, so I have absolutely had coworkers and friends come to my VTuber streams and like, hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I've actually had
It's-
like one of my real life friends became a VTuber.
Oh,
It's actually funny because he went from calling me by my name to, well, now they call me Mystia. Like even in
Oh my
private when
God.
asking about like if I was going to our local convention this year,
Nice.
he called me Mystia.
that's good. That's good. That's how it should be.
I just think it's
You're like-
funny because like they've never they've known me as my real name first, obviously.
Mhm.
I think on that note, there's like a pretty interesting topic to be had about like the melding of like our online identity to who we are as real people, and like
Yeah.
the slow like disintegration of anonymity online, right? Like
Mhm.
it's like been happening for a very long time, and I think it's a really interesting like I don't have the it's a video essay for another time, but
Yeah. Well,
it is a
it's
really
also
interesting idea, right?
yeah, absolutely. And especially as VTubers where like that privacy is restored for a lot of people where it either wasn't there
Mhm.
before or they wouldn't have to have it because they're just when you're a normal person on the internet, from my understanding, most normal people on the internet will protect their privacy to an extent, but also not care because I
Right.
mean
I
you're a
noticed,
random
like,
person
a
on the
lot
internet.
of like people on TikTok will use like their real name in their usernames,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Hi, I don't understand how you can do this." Like, I
Some
would
people do it
never,
on
even if
Twitter.
I wasn't a VTuber.
There is such a
Yeah.
disconnect from like younger kids in this. I'm going to sound like such a boomer right now, but like whenever I was growing up, like it was extremely important that you didn't say
Never
your like
tell
real name
anyone your
online,
name. Yeah.
never say your
Yeah.
name, never say like your age, don't say where you like what state you live in, like anything like
Yeah.
that.
It shocks me
And
because a
now
lot of like
nobody cares.
VTubers, yeah, like a lot of VTubers even will openly admit what state they live in. And like
Mhm.
I've hinted at it before, but like I've never outright said it. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
do you
we
people
used to
do
be
this?
more Yuki and I used to be more open about it, and then an incident happened where people sent like death threats with very specific locational information about where we lived, and we got a lot
Yeah.
more private.
Yeah,
That
scary,
was great.
honestly.
Love
It
that.
was terrible. And it's
Oh,
like,
that
man,
crap
people
that I brought up.
doxing people, just stop. Get some
Yeah.
help.
I don't know if it'll ever really stop, but
Yeah.
Well, there's also,
um,
I think, again, VTubing and just content creation in general, it adds this layer to some people who just like, who want to know more, whether malicious or not. They just want to know who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And it's not
half
always
the
malicious, but there's
mystery,
definitely.
half the fun of people doxing VTubers is just the curiosity. Like they just want to know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, like, I get it, but also, like, I don't know. I typically can just, like, oh man, I wonder who that is, and then, like, move on with my life because I have more important things to worry about as a
Yeah.
human,
I mean,
such
I'll
as, like,
admit I've had
eating myself.
moments where like someone will say, "Oh, I know who a big famous VTuber was in their previous life," and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm curious.
For sure.
I will not seek out that information myself, but like I'm
Yeah.
curious. Because I wouldn't want people to do that to me.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which
I don't
brings
know.
up like I don't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I just have this like it's not a fear. It happens of like people that were really shitty in their past like online identities, like coming back rebranded as a VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah,
it
definitely.
happens. It's so
It
easy to
happens all the
do. So
time.
that's like terrifying because you never know like
Mhm.
who amongst your friends might have been like someone terrible like Kirill the Wolf, which I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before, is
Yeah.
Mhm.
he's trying to like come back to YouTube as a VTuber. And like he didn't try to hide it as far as I know. He changed his name, but
Mm-hmm.
like he's someone I feel should never be allowed back on the internet. So it's just kind of like
Yeah.
scary to think.
And that kind of ties back into like how like culture today online is so willing to share personal information. Like it
Mhm.
allows people who are predators online to thrive, and in a lot of ways we've seen a lot more of it online, and a lot of that happening in the VTuber space, and a lot of drama, and a lot of people like coming back under a different name and then like rebranding and blah blah blah, and like it it is such a important thing that is not stated enough of
Mhm.
like don't tell people private information about yourself, man. It's important.
dangerous.
You never
It's
know
super
who, like,
dangerous.
you never know who somebody is on the
Mhm.
internet. Like, it kind of goes back. Like, people used to be really afraid of other people online back when I was younger. Like, the thought of meeting
Good.
up with
They
someone.
should be. Should be.
Be
You
afraid
should
of
be.
me.
Well, like, the thought of meeting up with someone online was like horrifying back then, and now it's
Yeah.
like I've gone to visit ex-partners of mine several times without a second thought.
I mean, like, I
And-
moved in with somebody I met online, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
3
I would
times I
gladly
have done
go,
this.
I would gladly go visit my friends in an instant if I had more money and the time off of my job. But like,
Mhm.
it's just so vastly different to when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, and I guess part of it is just that like people are young, and the way that like predators operate has evolved to where it is more online. And whenever I was a kid, there weren't as many of those types of people online because they didn't really know about it, kind of thing, right? Like it wasn't as mainstream of the
The wild, wild west of the internet.
right.
Yeah, but
Like
that's what I'm saying is like it used to be like scarier back then, but it's actually scarier now.
yeah, no, absolutely, it's way scarier now.
But
But like,
we'll go visit people without like a second thought. Even teenagers like do this stuff,
Mhm.
and like dating
It's-
apps, of course. Like you'll meet people
God.
online
Oh
to
gosh,
date.
yeah.
I've
And I mean,
never
like,
done it, but like people do it like. Okay, I guess one way to describe it is like telling my family where I met my partner. Like when I was a
Mhm.
teenager, I said I met them, like we played a video game together, and then they moved up here. And they thought that was really fucking weird.
yeah.
But like now, people just meet each other on the internet like every day.
Mhm.
Well, and like also, it makes me think of conventions, because conventions have been around for, realistically, they've been around for like 30, 40 years, but they became very popular around 15 years ago.
Sure,
And
yeah.
like, that's just a mass meetup of online people. Like, that's
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
specifically like what they're for. And like, that used to be a lot of meeting ground for a lot of internet people, especially in anime culture and anime communities.
Mhm.
And now it just feels like, I mean, that's still a part of it. I mean, we here in the VTubing community see it with like Offkai. A lot of VTubers and VTuber fans went to this new small VTuber convention to meet up and meet
Right.
people in the community. But like in general, like it's such a mass scale of such a common thing for like people to just meet online and then meet up in person because of it. It's so different now than what it used to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like for me back then, it was I played in like semi-professional Counter-Strike. So whenever we went to like Counter-Strike matches, we'd meet up with all these people that we would know from online matches and like
Your job was meeting
forums.
people.
Do what?
Your job was meeting people from
Yeah.
forums.
Yeah, like kind of. It was a weird thing, but like I met a ton of people that I only knew from like forums, and like I don't know if you've ever spent any time on like professional shooter forums, but it is the most vitriolic, vile like pit
Yeah.
of humanity that you can step into outside of like 4chan.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
So yeah, it was weird. It was weird.
Oh man, because that made me think of like my second Otacon. I was 15 or 16, and one of the like my parents didn't know this, of course. One of my online friends that I met at that time, she was 30. I went to her like hotel room to meet her, and she was one of the sweetest like people I knew. She's this very sweet French Canadian woman who wasn't like super fluent in English, and like it was such a nice time meeting her. But I definitely look back and like, wow, that was like maybe at the time one of the most dangerous things I did in my life was like someone twice my age alone in their hotel room, like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super fair. Because like you probably didn't think anything of it at the time, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean like a 16-year-old, I was very, headstrong, and like, oh yeah, of course I'm gonna meet my online friend that I've been talking to for a
Right.
year or two. Like,
I know
why wouldn't
them. I'm perfectly safe. I know who I am.
I?
Right.
15 and 16-year-olds also the prime, but yeah, I'm an adult. I'm not an adult yet, but I'm definitely an adult. And like, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world because meeting her was absolutely amazing. But like in retrospect, man, that was very dangerous.
Understandable, yeah. I cannot I cannot count how many stupid things I've done in like my younger life that like looking back on it I'm just like, how did you make that bad of a decision at that time?
I've only just recently started thinking about it, like in the past year, I guess. But I got groomed so many fucking times as a teenager
Oh,
without
God.
even knowing it. Like my
Yeah.
first like real relationship, I want to say, I was 17 and he was 23, I think. 20, maybe 2021, somewhere between 21 and 23. I don't know. Either way, like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
weird. I didn't think about it at the time, but now I think it's weird. And like
Yeah.
when I was even younger than that, I've had like a guy in his 20s that used to like try to roleplay inflation stuff with me. Against my will.
Oh.
Like he would just be like asterisk feeds you a ton of
No.
cake, asterisk, and then he'd be like,
No.
now you're big and you're rolling down the hill, cat face, and I'd be like, what the fuck? I'm 16.
Oh.
That's so weird.
He also
I
repeatedly
hate that
asked
for
me for
you.
swimsuit pictures, and this guy was in his 20s, and I'm
No,
like, bro.
that's not okay, man. That's not okay.
And I was like, I have a boyfriend. And he's like, he doesn't have to know.
Oh my
No,
god.
No.
But like the amount of times something like that happened to me, like as a teenager, and I'm only just realizing, like, wait, that was
Yeah.
pretty fucked up.
That's grooming. That's just grooming. Yeah.
So anyway, be more careful and don't get groomed, kids.
Yeah.
True.
Don't be afraid to say no to people online either.
Yeah.
All the kids
be
we
more
just got done
stern.
telling that we shouldn't make content for you. Don't get groomed.
Also, like, as much as like as weird as it is to say, like, especially as someone who did not have a good relationship with her parents, but like, don't be afraid to like take someone that you're having like weird, like you're not sure about, like take a picture of that DM and be like, hey, parent or trusted adult in my life that I know in real life, what about this thing? Is this bad? Like, it's okay to ask for advice. Like,
Yeah,
and
ask
at least
somebody you trust. If you're in a situation you're not so sure about, or they make you feel uncomfortable, if they're threatening you with blackmail or something, just
Oh,
talk
oh
to
yeah.
somebody.
If
That's happened to
if
me
anyone's
before.
yeah,
people are
that is
suspicious, people are overly kind. I mean, I've been, God, in retrospect, I've been so lucky because like my first like online friends I think I met up with, I was like 14 and they were like 17. And they drove down and picked me up, and it was like, again, everything went fine, but I'm like, God, if I was friends with the wrong people, like, yeah, I would have been abducted as a child.
Oh God,
Me too.
yeah.
I met up with a friend I made on Neopets when I was like 11 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Because they happened to
my
live in the
God.
same state as me.
Hmm.
Luckily, it went fine, and I even went to her house on a separate occasion to watch her play Kingdom Hearts.
Oh wow.
God.
But like,
Don't be
what if
like
that
us,
was
you know?
a creepy adult? Like, you know,
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
careful online. I guess I don't even know how we got here, but here we are.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It's fine. We don't make content for children though, so no kids ever will watch this, so it's fine.
It's fine. It's
You are
fine.
watching,
You never
though.
know. There could be some like teenagers in similar situations.
No, you're absolutely correct. But also, if you're a child and watching this, stop.
And
You don't
younger
belong here.
VTubers. Honestly, if someone's being creepy to you at all, especially because it seems to happen a lot in the VTuber community too, because it happened to me.
God, yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
in my. I don't want to talk about how old I am, but I'm definitely not in my teenage years anymore.
I mean, like, Nekomata's lived like several thousand years, so you know.
Yeah, so true. But yeah, like if somebody's pressuring you to talk to them in like a sexual manner and you're not into it, just put your foot down. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not worth trying to spare their feelings because I did that and then it landed me in a weird position and then
The block button is always free.
just
Yeah.
watch.
And even then, if you're just not sure, like just like, you know, back off from people and like don't let them in on you and your life if you're uncomfortable or unsure. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to respond to people. It may feel like it. You don't have to.
And no means no. And if they're not taking no for an answer, just put your foot down. I know it's easier said than done, but like honestly, sparing their
if
feelings, not wanting to hurt them, like fuck that. They're willing to hurt you.
Yep.
Mhm.
And if you're a person who is like me, extremely conflict avoidant, I have to reiterate again, the block button is free and you don't ever have to talk to them again once they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just block them. Anyway,
It's very easy.
Why don't we are getting pretty late into the recording.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
Let's finish up with our other beloved segment, bootleg descriptions. Yay!
Yeah.
All right, if you don't know what this is, bootleg descriptions is where we poorly explain a subject. Normally for us, it's an anime or a video game. And let's start with Momelia.
I see where that was going. I see. All right. Okay.
My brain was working.
I think in work in progress. Okay. So you go to the store. You go to pick up a game. In this game, you look at the back because it's still in the early 2000s, so you actually read the covers of your games, your physical games.
Cringe.
You read this description, which says, "You slave away for the fiercest debt collector, only for it to grow over time."
Animal Crossing.
Yep, Animal Crossing.
A little bit for me.
You did not hesitate.
I knew. It's those bells, man. Those damn bells.
Every time.
All right. My first one. The only anime where indisputably the dub is better than the sub.
Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's so true. That's so true.
There's no arguing with that one.
I have some aggressive comments for that, but I'll hold.
Right. Momuki's turn.
That's me. I'm a
Mokime.
Mokime.
So, man-made creature tries to wipe out the inferior natural species and make artificial clones of all the animals in the world. They eventually learn to stop being racist because of the power of friendship.
What?
Pokemon the first
anime?
movie.
That's exactly it.
Wait. What was it?
Pokemon the first movie.
Oh my god.
That was a curveball. I thought I was off base there. Oh my god.
That certainly was a bootleg description.
Yeah,
That
I
was
heard this
the
description and I was just like, I don't know if they'll get this, but the description is too funny to not say.
That's the bootleg description of all time. All right, MomokaVT.
So in this video game, you traverse a world, you get a big weapon, you hit a dinosaur, you kill a dinosaur, and you get a bigger weapon.
Monster Hunter World?
Monster Hunter.
What?
Fucking Turok
Oh my god.
Is it not true?
No, it was Monster Hunter World. But man, I wish I had done Turok. That's so good.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Good. That's good.
Okay. Momelia's turning again.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna set the scene again. So you go. This is again like 2008. You're not relative to. Don't think of that as the era this time for the series. I just want to do a funny setup. You go to your local FYE because there's nowhere else where you can buy anime DVDs in 2008. And you go and you see this weird like Playboy bunny, but you don't really get why it's there. So you pull back the cover. And you see this and you read it and it says, not that this makes sense to you because it's 2008. VR chat, but the e-daters are high schoolers.
What?
Haters are high school.
My like first thought when you said like Playboy bunny was like Overwatch because like the diva
Second
bunny.
Life? Not Second
But-
Life.
It is an anime. It is an anime.
Oh, it's an anime.
Okay. With a
Can
bunny.
you say that again?
VR chat, but the e-daters are high schoolers.
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, my brain just
Yeah,
went so online.
It's absolutely Sword Art Online.
Oh my god.
You like back a Playboy bunny.
Oh, because it's in the not safe for work section.
Oh,
Oh.
so I win.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
win.
That was clear, but if you've been to an FYE, you know what I'm talking about.
I've been
No,
to one,
that's
but I
super
don't
fair.
know because I'm mostly hanging out in the snack section.
Fair. See, I think they still do it. I don't know. I haven't been to an FYE in a very long time. But back in the day, the hentai section for anime, which I didn't know what it was literally at the time, was they had Playboy bunny like slip covers over
Oh,
the categories,
oh
and
my
you pull
God.
them back, and then they would have like the anime or whatever it is.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I like
Alright,
didn't
haven't seen
connect
that,
that
but
at
it's so
all, and I
funny.
got like
Gotcha.
hard stuck on the Playboy bunny.
I was like,
And I was like, "What do you
I
mean?"
just thought about e-daters, and I was like, Sword Art.
See, also, I think it's in the light novel. One of the chapters of Sword Art is basically just porn.
I mean,
oh.
I believe it. Like the
That
show
makes sense,
is basically
yeah.
porn. Anyway,
Anyway,
all right. Here's my second one. This will be very easy. Advertisement, the video game.
Pepsi Man?
No,
it's a good guess.
that is a good guess though.
Is it what was it? The fucking
Yu-Gi-Oh?
oh god.
No,
Beyblade?
It's a video game?
it's a video game.
Is it Sneak King?
No,
Street Fighter 5.
no. It's not. It's a massive multiplayer game.
Beyblade?
Not an MMR. It's a game you play online.
This second
Neo
life?
Heads? Club
I-
Penguin?
I thought this. I thought this was easy.
Can you give us another hint?
I don't want Victory Royale.
Oh, Fortnite. Oh my god. Okay. So I'm with you now. Advertising the game. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's super true.
Pepsi Man, though. That was a really
That was a really good
I thought I might have had it.
my brain for advertisement, it makes me think of Street Fighter 5. If you were connected online, it would show ads for like I think it's like
yeah.
Red Bull and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so it's my second one now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a young girl has a midlife crisis when she suddenly discovers she's like
Me.
80 years old. Then she falls in love with a femboy that's also a bird,
Oh.
and they fix each other, kind of.
How's Moving Castle? How's Moving Castle?
That's it. You got it.
Yep.
Was it the
I
bird?
was good
Give
at
it away.
this game.
80. The girl turns 80. That was instantly like.
Yeah.
She does.
That's
turn
fair, yeah.
80.
I just liked the wording of she has a midlife crisis when she suddenly discovers she's 80 years old.
Me too, girl. Me too.
I hate when when I wake up and discover I'm 80 years
It's gonna be
old.
me when I turn 80.
Look,
Like,
this
That's
is
me.
me
That's me
every
when I
morning.
wake up with back pain.
My bones.
Every
My
morning I wake up and I
bones.
feel like I'm 80 years old because it's too early and I just want to go back to bed.
Yeah.
Whoever invented
it's like, why are we still here?
yeah,
Just to
whoever
suffer?
invented
Just to
being
suffer.
awake before 8 a.m. Should be in jail.
I agree.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So for my second one, it is also a video game. And to set the scene, kind of like started, you're like probably a 15-year-old kid and you're super excited because the greatest game
The greatest game.
greatest game of your generation is about to release, and you rush down to the Toys R Us video game section because it's the
Yeah.
only place that would have this still in stock in order to pick it up. And you read the back of the box and it tells you about being a 6'10" tall man heavily invested in the U.S. Space Force to protect from actual aliens in the universe.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Is it Halo?
Yeah, it is Halo, but it's Turok Dinosaur Hunter. But he just killed me. You sounded so sure.
When you said 6'10", I was like, Slender Man?
No, I googled John Master Chief. He's 6'10" tall, which is very short for what I
And adjacent.
thought he would be.
Yeah.
But
John Master Chief.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
instead of instead of saving the world, you just aggravate other aliens, and you
Right,
have
right.
galactic genocide to fix it. Unless you.
Oh, Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
That's
Yep.
it. That's correct. Mystia wins.
I won. Also, I think I noticed last episode we skipped Momo's second one.
We did.
I don't know how that happened, but I was like
Oh, no.
recording it and I was like, did we ever do Momo's second one? And then it just went past it. And I'm like, I guess not.
Yeah, but don't worry, I'm a professional, so I don't like call attention to things like that.
I did. I'm not professional.
Like, I just don't want to make everything about me is all. I already talk enough.
Don't worry. I just wanted you to know you weren't forgotten entirely. Maybe in the moment, but not.
Yuki,
Oh my
Yuki
God.
didn't believe
Oh.
me whenever I told her that
Yeah,
you skipped me the first
She
time.
told me, I was like, what? No way.
I know.
She was like trying to gaslight me into
I
thinking
did
that we
not try to
didn't.
gaslight you into it. I just didn't believe it at first.
It was just funny because I like explained how it went about happening that we skipped me, and you were like, "No, I don't think so."
Oh
No,
my
we definitely
god.
did.
Now I'm being gaslit.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Mhm,
That's
100%.
That's the four of us. We're gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, and gay.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Big agree.
All right. Well, this is where we have to say goodbye with you, dear listeners. We are past
been a
our
long one
bedtime.
today.
Yeah. We thought we
Listen,
weren't gonna
I
have
can't
enough
believe
stuff
this-
to talk about again. And here we
Yeah.
are.
Happens every
Listen,
time.
do you think this is going to be a short one? We did too.
We literally, every time we're like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. We come on and we're like, okay, now we have more to talk about than we ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
I think it's just because we have such good chemistry as friends.
That's so
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
Listener, aren't you jealous of our chemistry as friends?
Tell us in the comments how jealous of our chemistry as friends you are.
Stop comparing social relationships with our audience. I bet you wish you had friends like us. Anyway, listen every Monday morning at.
Like, comment, and subscribe,
Your
and I
personal
won't.
information in the comments below.
Yeah, no. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I won't date you, but you can like think of the possibility that will never happen. I will
You
not
could
date
subscribe
you,
to our Patreon, and we still won't date you. But
Yeah.
like, you know,
but you could subscribe
might.
to our Patreon that we don't have yet.
don't worry about that yet.
Starmite.
I'll consider it.
Depends how much money you give first.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a date start here.
Yeah.
How much?
It is $7,000 a month.
Oh,
Yeah. You gotta hit 800 or 8,000 for that meme. I will stop talking, but only for $8,000.
Okay, so the dating tier is 7,999, and the will stop talking is 8,000.
It's a fine line.
I forgot what I was
Right.
gonna say. Oh yeah. Okay. By the time this episode goes out, it'll be almost my birthday. So also comment in the comments
Oh
how
yeah.
happy you wish my birthday to be.
We were
Happy
supposed to sing
birthday.
you happy birthday.
But
We do it
no, we don't
now.
have to do that.
Happy
Happy
birthday to you. Happy
birthday to
you.
Happy birthday, dear Mystia. Happy birthday to you. That had all the jank I expected.
Thank you, friends. I love you.
See,
We love you too.
so jealous of our dynamic as friends. It's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
So true.
Wish Misty a happy birthday in the comments.
Please.
Yeah, and
please.
also go back in time to go to my birthday stream this Sunday, February 5th.
Yeah.
My VTube studio broke just in time.
That's fine. Bye.
Wait,
Bye.
no, wait. Hold on. One last thing.
Mhm.
I forgot none of us have anything else to promote right now.
Hey, I stream every Monday and Friday.
Yeah, go watch Star's stream. Star has a video in the works. I believe Momo is also working on a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also working on a video. Mine will be about... I don't know if I should tell you. Or keep it a secret. Well, mine will be about something. And I am writing a script for it right now. Go back in time to go to my birthday stream. My actual birthday is on Tuesday, so make sure you come back to this video and comment again.
Yeah.
Definitely do that.
Yeah, do all those things. All right, now we can go. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.